Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. And today, we're going to take a break from discussing the heaping blob of a mess that is the Pokemon anime. And instead, we're going to discuss the new video games, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and the Pokemon I'd like to see return for those games. Now for this video, I will only be discussing and ranking Pokemon that were not in the Sword and Shield game as a result of the National Dex debacle. Recently, we've gotten a ton of leaks and breaking news about the Gen 9 games. Almost seems like it's a weekly occurrence. And actually, in the latest Pokemon Scarlet and Violet trailer, we got confirmation that Squavit and Green will be making a return. Whew. Thank God we don't have to worry about them being cut. Thanks, Game Freak. You guys are always looking out for fans and those marketing beasts of Pokemon. Now these are the top 5 Pokemon I'd like to see return in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. But before we get started, please be sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below what Pokemon you'd like to see make their triumphant return in Gen 9 Pokemon games. Also, one more quick disclaimer. While I will only be ranking the final form of each Pokemon, I obviously mean to include their whole evolutionary line. Also, this video is created with the intent of Mega Evolutions, Z-Moves, and Gigantamax forms being cut from the Gen 9 games. Also, I won't be including any starter Pokemon or legendaries, because I believe they should all be back in the games, and I don't want this list to be entirely made up of starters and legendaries. Okay, now let's get started. Coming in at number 5, straight out of the Alola region, I have Minior. Minior is an incredibly underrated Pokemon, and arguably one of the strongest Pokemon in the Sun and Moon games. If you could set up a Shell Smash with Minior, activate the White Herb, and its unique ability Shields Down, this thing can sweep through teams with a 110 Power Stab Acrobatics attack. In the Sun and Moon games, Minior was a little tough to find, and also just straight up wasn't that popular. So, as a result, I never used one in any of my playthroughs, even though it was easily one of the fastest Alola Pokemon with a very impressive 110 base speed stat in its Shields Down form. The problem is, Minior just didn't receive very much shine or marketability across Pokemon media. He didn't play a major role in the Sun and Moon anime, and speaking of anime, to the best of my knowledge, I don't think Minior's even been in the Pokemon Journeys anime. At least as of recording this video. Who knows, maybe he's Leon's secret weapon? Minior did have a bunch of the cool different colored forms that never really served a purpose, but was visually cool at least. Also, I don't know about you, but I find it kind of crazy that they kicked the Pokemon out of the game only one generation after it was introduced. If they do bring Minior back, I could certainly see myself using it during a run of Scarlet and Violet. Next up, coming in hot at number 4, I have our Unova representative with Electros. Electros was a very surprising Pokemon to have been cut from the Gen 8 games. Aside from its rather ugly 3D model, Electros is a pretty cool Pokemon, and definitely one of the more memorable introduced in the Black and White games. Ever since Fairy types were introduced and came and ruined Spiritomb and Sableye's reputation, Electros is the only Pokemon to not have a weakness, thanks to it being an electric type with the Levitate ability. Looking at the list of the other Gen 5 mons that were cut from Sword and Shield, with the exception of the starters, Electros is the one that really sticks out. I mean, they cut the Elemental Monkeys, which is probably for the best, and the Duck, which honestly is unfortunate. But Electros could work really well in the Scarlet and Violet games. Plus, it would give a lot more shine to a much deserving evolutionary line. Like honestly, I could see Electros being a cool Pokemon for Rival of Ashes to use in the anime. Like, think about it. I could have totally seen Paul using one, or maybe someone new, like that Clavel dude. Look at him. Isn't he kind of giving off Electros user vibes? Alright, now coming in at number 3, I have the original regional bird, Pidgeot. I mean, isn't it insane that the Pidgeot line was cut from the Sword and Shield games? However, I didn't even realize this until I was doing research for this video. Well, yes, Pidgeot is not as cool as other regional birds like Talonflame, Staraptor, or Corviknight. I definitely wouldn't say it's the worst. I mean, Unpleasant definitely exists. But come on, Pokemon, you can't cut an OG like this. For a company that seems to pander and bend the knee for Gen 1 any opportunity they can get, it's wild to think that they cut the Pidgeot line. Though Pidgeot is definitely hindered without the use of its Super Saiyan 3 Mega Evolution, I definitely still think Pidgeot can make some noise both in the game and in the competitive meta. Similarly, Ash could always bring back his Pidgeot for some nostalgia bait, getting old fans back into viewing the ever so steadily declining anime. It was confirmed that Pidgeot's regional bird sibling, Staraptor in the Starly line, who was also cut from the Gen 8 games, is making a return for the Gen 9 ones. So, I find it fitting that Pidgeot could also be coming back. Next, coming in at the penultimate spot, we have one of the coolest Pokemon from the Johto region. That, of course, being Houndoom. I cannot believe Houndoom was cut from the Sword and Shield game. When you think of Johto Dark types, you probably normally think Tyranitar first, which makes sense. But then you probably think Houndoom. Or actually probably Umbreon next. But then definitely Houndoom. In most Johto playthroughs, if you don't pick Cyndaquil and end up using Typhlosion on your team, then you're probably using Houndoom. That is, when you can find it. Now, I won't go as far as to say Houndoom is a Pokemon icon, but I definitely say it stood the test of time. Houndoom is literally a hellhound. That is so freaking cool, and like, Pokemon thinks it's okay to cut him. Come on, Game Freak, bring him back for the Paldea region. And in number 1, we have a Pokemon with stats stronger than legendaries, Slacking of the Hoenn region. With the creation of Galarian Weezing and its neutralizing gas ability, which neutralizes every Pokemon's ability, Slacking was suspiciously absent from the Galar region games. Imagine running a double battle with Slacking and Galarian Weezing, and not having to worry about that pesky Truant ability. Well, of course, we're not totally sure Galarian Weezing will be coming back for the Scarlet and Violet games. Regardless, Slacking needs to come back. He has the power of gods! Plus, Slacking's always fun to use in battles, and to mix it up in the competitive scene. No one's ever really ready for Slacking. Well, that's gonna do it for today's video. Next week, I'll be back covering more of the Pokemon Journeys anime, as it quickly reaches the series climax. Even though, for some reason, we're still getting episode breaks and recaps. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I would love to see what Pokemon you guys would like to see return in the Scarlet and Violet games. Comment your predictions down below.